Welcome back once again. Today we are going to study chapter 6 verbs, and this video is for class 7th and from Superb English Grammar. So verbs, you are well known about verbs, right? Action verbs, mental words, physical activity. The verbs which shows these kind of activity are called verbs. You could observe these pictures like walk, eat, read, sleep, write, play, and call. These words are action verbs, right? So we can't have a sentence or a question without an action. That's how important these action parts of speech which we call verbs. So verbs are very very important. You know that each sentence has two segments. The first one is subject and the second is predicate, right? So the subject tells us who or what sentence is about, and predicate tells what the subject is or does. It means it contains the action part. The verb signals an action and or occurrence or state of being. They talk about the action or the state of any noun subject. This means that verbs show what the subject is doing, what the state or situation of the subject is. We majorly classify verbs as action verbs, linking verbs, and helping verbs. So these are the subtopics which we are going to study in the topic verbs. Now, action verbs. The verbs talk about what the subject is doing in the sentence. Action verbs are one of the most easily identifiable types of verbs. To recognize them, you simply have to look for the word in the sentence that answer the question, what is the subject doing? Let's try to understand with the example. Rose is painting the kitchen walls. So what is Rose doing? She is painting. So painting is what? Painting is verb. So there are two types of action verb which describe the verb and the subject doing the action and object or which the action is done. They are transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. So let's understand transitive verbs. The action verbs have a definite object on which or of which the action is being performed. That means that the action has a definite recipient or object. To identify them, you can ask the question, what is the object being affected by the verb? If it is affected by the verb, then it is transitive verb, and if the verb is not required, then it is intransitive verb. Let's try to understand with some example. For example, here Rose is painting the kitchen walls. So what is Rose painting? The kitchen walls. Yes, so object is required. So if the object is required in a sentence, it is an example of transitive verb. Understood? Now let's try to understand intransitive verbs. These verbs also show an action, but here there is no specific object on which the action is being done. To recognize these verbs, we ask the question, what is the object being affected by the verb? If there is no answer present, then the verb in the sentence is an intransitive verb. Let's understand by an example. Rose is painting right now. So what is Rose painting? So there is no right answer, like Rose is painting the walls, the mirrors. So no noun is there, no object is there. So this is what? This is intransitive verb. It means object is not required here. Understood? Now try out one, underline the verbs and state whether they are transitive or intransitive verb. Name the object of each transitive verb. Understood? So for example, let's try to understand the first. The sun rises in the east. So the verb is rises. So where does the sun rises? In the east. Okay. So we will put here. So what is east? This is transitive verb, right? He raised. Oh, okay, the dog barks. So the dog barks. Is there any object? No. So this is an example of intransitive verb. Now he raised his hands. So raised his verb. So what did he raise? His hands. So this is an example of transitive verbs. She fed the dog. Whom did she fed? She fed the dog. So again object is required. This is an example of transitive verb. The child has fallen asleep. Is there any object? No. So it is an example of intransitive verb. The donkey kept braying. So kept is verb. Braying means here he was continuously neighing. Alright. So here again no object is given. Helping verbs. Helping verbs are verbs that, as their name suggests, help the main verb in a sentence by extending the meaning of the verb. They assist the main verb, showing time and meaning. So, helping verbs include any form of to be. Here are some examples of to be like is, am, are, do, does, did, have, has, had, shall, had, shall, should, will, would, can, could, may, might, must. For example, they will run away before dawn. So this is what will. Will is what? Will is helping verb. I am running. So what is am? Am is helping verb. Helping verbs are auxiliary verbs, and there are two types of auxiliary verb. Firstly, primary auxiliary verbs, and the second one is modal auxiliary verbs. So what is primary auxiliary verbs? Like these verbs function both as a helping verb and main verbs. For example, in the be, is, am, are, has, have, then do, have. Okay, so modal auxiliary, these verbs are used to change the tone and mood of the main verb, like can, could, may, shall, will, etc. Linking verbs क्या होते हैं? These verbs are unlike other verbs as they do not tell anything about the subject themselves. Instead, they connect. No? So they connect subject to a noun or adjective that helps in describing or providing additional information from the subject. That's why, because it is used to link or connect the subject to a noun or adjective, that's why we call it linking adjective. For example, he is the manager. So here the verb is adding information about the subject. Is he is here is used to link, is used here as a linking verb, right? She is a creative person. So here is adding the connection between she and creative person. All right. It's important to remember that. So what is important to remember? That the difference between a helping verb and a linking verb is that our linking verb is used to connect the subject with something that describe it, whereas the helping verb is used together with an additional main verb to express the action. For example, I am tall. I'm tall. So here tall is adjective and I is subject. So here am is used as a linking verb. Here now let's understand the second example. I am running. So it is an example of present continuous tense, and here it is a helping verb. Okay, let's try out one. Decide whether the underlined verb is helping verb or linking verb. So Georgia is a state just above Florida. So Georgia is a state. It shows it is here is used to link the subject, that is linking verb. So I'm just writing here LV so that you could understand. Now it could rain any moment. So here it is helping verb, auxiliary verb. In auxiliary verb, it is an example of modal auxiliary verb. Okay, so the second one is helping verb. Now the next one, Cleopatra was one of very popular queens of Elizabethan era. So this is again, it is used, very popular queens. This is adjective and this is showing the connection of Cleopatra. So this is linking verb. We will write here LV. Now the next one, Ankita and Mukul have a boxing bag. So here is what is have. Have is helping verb. All right, so we will write here helping verb. Helping verb. Understood? Next is they are listening to the same song again and again. So here are के साथ में verb plus ing form. This is an example of helping verb. Understood? Now let's try to understand the next one. Try out 3. Identify whether the highlighted verbs are action verbs, linking verbs, or action verbs. Sorry, helping verbs. Action verbs, linking verbs, or helping verbs. Like the first question is, who started the civil rights movement? So who started? here it is an example of action. Someone has taken action, right? So we will write here action verbs. Rosa Parks was the woman who started the civil rights movement. So here Rosa Parks and was. This is what? This is linking verb because subject is linked with that. How many days does the earth take to revolve around the sun? So does is used in present indefinite tense. So this is helping verb. I'm just putting HV so that you could understand. Now the answer, the earth takes 365 days to revolve around the sun once. This is what? This is action verbs because the earth is moving on its place. Understood? Which Mughal emperor built the Taj Mahal? So again here it is action verb, alright, because someone has built the Taj Mahal. Shah Jahan was the Mughal emperor who built the Taj Mahal. So this is what? Shah Jahan was the Mughal emperor. So here was is what? Linking verb. We will write here LV. Next, what served as homes for early humans? What served? This is what? Action verb. Alright. So here it is action verbs. Early humans lived in trees and caves. So again it's action verbs. They are living there. Now, can you name any one means of transportation that people have been using? So again it's an example of present perfect continuous tense. So it is an what? This is an helping verb. Next, horse carts are being used as a means of transport since the ancient time. So this is are being used. This is an examples of action verb. Okay, क्योंकि इसमें एक्शन इन्वॉल्व है, आप उसको यूज़ कर रहे थे. नाउ यूजिंग वर्ब्स इन अ sentences. To use some verbs correctly in sentences, you need to learn more about the construction and the use of various verbs and how they change form according to the tenses and number. Example: Rajan has been coaching students since 2015. I regularly go for a morning walk. Doing yoga early in the morning is good for health. Okay, so here using verbs in sentences, so you could see we use like this. For correct application of verbs in the written test, you need to know about regular and irregular verbs. So regular verbs क्या होते हैं? Regular verbs are those verbs that form their past participle with d or ed, are regular verbs. For example, share, shared, want, wanted, dance, danced. What is irregular verbs? They did not follow any certain parameter, or you can say that they did not undergo substantial change. Alright, the change form of these verbs are often unrecognizably different from the original verb. For examples, go, it change into went, and then it will change into gone, right? Run, ran, run, think, thought, thought. So here there is no way to tell what a form an irregular verb is going to take a changed tense. The only option for an English speaker is to commit the changes to memory. So you are also supposed to memorize these words. Alright, now let's try to try out 4. Now the first question is, we dash ourselves at the fair. So here we will use regular verb. We enjoyed ourselves. Okay, because you are adding what? You are adding, I'm just writing RV so that you could understand. R for regular, V for verb, and we will put here enjoyed. Alright, so we are adding here ed. So this is an example of regular verb. Did the teacher dash at you? So here shout at you, and it is again an example of regular verb because when you are changing shout into past tense, you will get shouted. It means you are adding ed. Now the next one, feel. So when you change feel into past tense, you will get felt. So this is what irregular verb. I'm just writing here IR so that you could understand. This is an example of irregular verb. She was surprised to see me. Again, it's a regular verb because ed is added in surprise. So we will put here SUR Prised, surprised. Next question. The police dash him after a month of searching. This is an example of irregular verb. Why this is irregular verb? Because the past form of catch is caught. So it is, we are not adding here ed. So this is irregular verb. Now the next is finite and non-finite verb. There are verbs which can either be the main verb of a sentence or that one that is used as an adjective. So finite verbs are those verbs that have a definite relation with the subject or noun. The verbs are usually the main verb of a clause or sentence, and it can be changed according to the noun. They are used only in present and past tense. They can be indicative of number. For example, she walks home. So here we see the finite verb is walks and the pronoun is she. Like she walked home. Here we can say how the verb changed, modify to change the tense of the sentence. It means it changed according to the singular and plural, right? Now let's understand non-finite verb. These verbs cannot be the main verb of a clause or a sentence, and they do not talk about the action that is being performed by the subject or noun. They do not indicate any tense, mood or gender. They are used as nouns, adverbs and adjectives. They are also used to form non-finite clauses, which are simply dependent clauses that use non-finite verbs. So he loves campaigning in the wood. So here what camping is, sorry, not campaigning, it's camping. He loves camping. So here loves is finite verb. Love तो finite हो गया, but camping is what? Camping is non-finite verb because it did not change if the subject changed, right? I need to go to sleep. Again, there will be changes in need only. So need is finite and sleep is infinite. The sleeping dog caused a delay. So here the sleeping is what? This is called participles, or they become an adjective. Understood? Now try out 5. My friend always volunteers to bake cake on a party. Alright. So we will put here non-finite. Okay, to bake. So to bake is the correct option. You could put here. My friend always volunteers to bake cake on a party. Don't waste my time complaining. So here complaining is gerund. It works as adjective here. Dhara is having trouble concentrating on the exam. Again here it's a gerund, and gerund works as a noun. All right. Now the please allow me to join, this is infinite, okay, because it did not change according to the subject. You won't forget to pick your little brother on your way home, will you? So this is to pick. Now modal verbs. These verbs tell us whether something is probable or about the skills of a noun, etc. There are 10 modal verbs in total, and each one has an important part in sentence formation, like can, could, may, might. These are modal verbs and we call it modal auxiliary. They used to show possibility, permission, suggestions, etc. Alright, so let's understand. Try out 6. Identify the form of underlined verb in the given sentence. Sheena wrote the essay proficiently. So here wrote because it will change according to the subject. So here it is what? It is finite verb. So I'm just writing here FV so that you could understand. Next, I like to read fables and adventures books. So this is again what? This is finite verb. Children should learn. This is modal verb. Should is what? Should is modal. So I'm just writing here MV. All right. Next, he can sign the contract and start to project immediately. This is again MV. MV means modal verb. Drinking is harmful for health. So what is drinking? Drinking is gerund. So we'll write here gerund. Here it's work as a noun. Drinking works here as a noun. The dancing doll caught everybody's attention. So here it works as an adjective. It's defining doll. So doll, how is doll? Doll is dancing. So here it is participle. Okay, so I'm just writing here parti. CIPLE. This is participle. Now let's talk about the last one. The bullies challenge the studious boys to fight. This is infinitive because it did not change with the noun or pronoun. Infinitives. So children, thank you so much for watching. For any query you can text me in my box. All right, so very soon I'll be with you with my next video. Thank you so much for watching.